Oscar, the crown prince of a grand kingdom, possesses everything wealth can offer, yet true happiness slips through his fingers. At just 5 years old, he was cursed by a wicked witch, robbing him of the ability to have heirs. While his peers, even those at 13, have already taken wives, Oscar desperately seeks his soulmate, hunting powerful witches to break the curse, his loyal companion. Lagia worries endlessly about their journey and keeps begging to turn back, fearing His Highness might suffer another terrible curse. Oscar fears nothing, for if things stay this way, his inner songbird will never sing. What's the point of living like this? As a man and a prince, how can he endure the world's mockery? Their destination is the Green Tower, where the witches dwell. No one has ever conquered that tower to meet the witches, but Oscar believes in himself to triumph. He charges straight in like it's his own home and finds it matches the ancient records. Each floor brings new challenges they must face. Reaching the highest floor means standing before the witches, where any wish can be granted. And save his inner songbird once and for all, Lagia is terrified but fiercely loyal, vowing to follow His Highness to the end. On the first floor, they encounter a pack of fierce-looking snakes with no venom. Oscar ignores the snakes and deciphers the riddle on the stone tablet, succeeding and leading them to the second floor. At the highest level, 2 witches discuss the challenges. Who dare to test them? It's been ages since anyone arrived, so the tower's master, Witch Nasa, is intrigued. Little La, her servant, is ordered to clear out any failures from the tower, as she believes these challenges won't reach her. Below, Oscar's masterful swordsmanship carries him through the middle floors effortlessly. The royal archives record that. Oscar's great-grandfather once conquered this tower. Oscar thinks he's even better, so overcoming it is a simple feat. In the next room, enchanted stone monsters await. Lagia is scared at first glance, but seeing His Highness's determination worries him more. The 2 demons awaken and attack, only to be sliced in half by Oscar's blade. A strong challenger reaching the final floor surprises the tower's master. Impressed by how easily he passed the trials, she invites him in. Since Lagia contributed nothing to the climb and just tagged along, the host sends him away. They're separated, making Oscar furious as he wants to go back for his friend, but Lagia stops him. He doesn't want to end His Highness's future here and wishes the best for Oscar before parting. Oscar presses on to the top floor where Nasa waits. At first glance, she looks like a beautiful woman, nothing like a witch. She reassures him about his companion. He's fine, just sleeping below. Relieved, they sit for tea, and Oscar asks what she eats to stay so stunning, or if it's magic that changes her. Appearance. Nasa stopped aging long ago. Witches live 10 times longer than ordinary people, and if not killed, they can survive for thousands of years or more. It's been 70 years since anyone reached here, so she asks his name. Oscar reveals he's the Prince of Phanes, descendant of Regius, the first to arrive. She knows him well and notes how much Oscar resembles him, though Oscar seems more carefree than his ancestor. Perhaps that's why he has such charm, which she finds appealing. Little La appears to greet them and confirms Lagia is sleeping under a tree. On that note, Oscar asks what happens to those who fail the tower. Nasa doesn't kill them. She lets them go like Lagia, but she alters their memories as the price for challenging. For fame. For those with pure hearts seeking to save loved ones. Even in failure, she helps them. Truly, she's a compassionate witch. Back to the main issue, the curse from the silent witch cast on him as a child. He asks her to lift it. Each time his songbird tries to sing, it erodes the wombs of women, threatening the extinction of the Farsath bloodline. He doesn't know why the witch did it, and it pains his father to discuss it, so Oscar hesitates to ask. He's searched everywhere without clues, making this his last hope. Nasa isn't sure she can break it, as the silent witch is incredibly powerful, and her curses aren't like regular magic. They might be irreversible, even for the caster. Unfortunately, Oscar's curse is one of the hardest, so she's at a loss. She shows him the curse as a twisted blessing on his body, suggesting it might prevent unfit children from being born and only allow strong women to endure its power. Since she can't remove it, Nasa won't let him leave empty-handed. She casts a spell to find a suitable woman for Oscar to marry. He worries she might pick an old lady or someone already wed, but after excluding those, no one fits. He boldly asks if she herself could withstand the curse and become his wife. Nasa is shocked no one's ever been so bold. Though she's never had a fiancé or married, she refuses. She knows the royals would discriminate against a witch like her, so she stands firm against his proposal. Oscar realizes his ancestor must have liked her too, and if he couldn't win her, then he will. They argue until she threatens to erase his memories and send him away, but he's unafraid. Though his other sword is useless, this one, the royal blade Akasiai, is different. It's the only sword that can cut through magic, making it a tough match for Tain Nasa. Normally, no one dares use it, but Oscar fears nothing and wields the national treasure. Anyway, their banter continues as Oscar calls her stubborn, but insists they suit each other. Knowing she won't marry him now, he asks for just 1 year together in his kingdom, and she agrees. Down below, Lagia wakes up thinking it was all a dream. Oscar says it's done and introduces Tain Nasa as the witch's apprentice who'll help break the curse. Relieved, Lagia whispers to His Highness, "What about that witch? Does she plan to devour you?" Oscar brushes it off, calling her intriguing, and invites Tain Nasa on his horse. His goal, win her heart in a year. No need to break the curse now his songbird can sing freely. Back in the kingdom, Oscar gains Tain Nasa's protection spell, shielding him from physical and magical attacks until she dies, ensuring his safety. Though it feels like cheating, their pact makes it fair. Still, some threats like poison or mental attacks persist. He brings up marriage again, but she walks away. Later, with Lagia, she asks about pure royal bloodlines. 15 years ago, nearly all royal newborns vanished. Luckily, Oscar survived, or the kingdom would be in chaos. Nearby, young mages light lamps with spells, but one novice drops it. Tain Nasa saves the day. The apprentices are amazed she casts without chanting pure magic. In the courtyard, warriors spar, catching her interest. Both are elite under Oscar, but the red-haired one dominates. He's second only to the prince in an kingdom, so Tain Nasa joins in. As a witch, she's even better at combat, leaving them stunned. He suggests she ditch magic and join their ranks for more excitement. Marina feels jealous seeing a woman outshine her, but they only know her as the witch Oscar brought. Lotina arrives with urgent news, teasing first since the master seems happier with her around. After the update, Tain Nasa gears up for battle. Oscar asks where she's going, but she just requests leave for a few days. He insists on joining, not wanting to lose his would-be wife. She reveals she's heading to Lake Drura, a deadly place where a beast was sealed 70 years ago, now at risk of returning, so she must handle it. The scene shifts to Lake Drura. 2 key figures await the Blue Moon Witch. They sense her return will shake the palace. The strongest warriors assemble for the fight. The blonde girl Tain Nasa saved admires her dragon and chats. She introduces herself as Sylvia, a royal mage apprentice. Oscar arrives, learning it's her mount. With regal authority, he orders everyone to follow Tain Nasahi's future wife. The Blue Moon Witch feels an eerie silence, a sign of looming death, and smiles at Oscar, leaving him enchanted as she hints at changing fate alone. They teleport to the northern fortress near Lake Drura, tied to events from 70 years ago when Ruza tried to invade but was repelled. They summoned a high-level beast they couldn't control, leading to massacre. Thankfully, Tain Nasa sealed it, but the land was left poisoned and barren. Now, she senses someone and calls them out. It's a survivor who knows her as the Moonlight Witch. Everyone panics, realizing she's the witch from 70 years past. He's just a kid who lived through it, and now seeks revenge by unleashing the beast, knowing he can't beat her. His surprise attack wounds Oscar's team. He's magic-resistant, shielding some, but Tain Nasa sees through it as an illusion. She heals the wounded and faces their doubts, apologizing for frightening them. Oscar asks if they should retreat, it's too dangerous. She doesn't want anyone to die and offers to go alone. He insists on coming but gets scolded for acting like a reckless king. He argues it's his kingdom's issue, so he won't let her bear it alone. Touched, she relents and promises to return, assuring him their bond will handle it. Before leaving, he jokingly demands marriage upon her return, but she refuses. The enemies try to break the seal, but Tain Nasa arrives too quickly. Their fate is sealed, they die. One lucky survivor witnesses the beast's revival, as she decides not to seal it this time but destroy it. After 70 years, the beast is as formidable as ever. Tain Nasa summons lightning strikes, but they barely scratch it. Its fur resists magic, and its speed and strength are unmatched, with rapid regeneration, truly a monster among monsters. The Blue Moon Witch then uses underworld chains to bind it and chants a supreme spell to end it, but it breaks free and bites her. She lands a final blow, vaporizing it, before collapsing in critical condition. Oscar calls mages to heal her, learning she self-repaired her wounds and organs before they could. Visiting, he glimpses her undressed form. Later, Tain Nasa explains she developed her body to heal itself, her appearance unchanged except for longer hair. The beast is gone, so he thanks her for saving them all. Days later, things stabilize. Sylvia, unafraid of Tain Nasa, is assigned to care for her. Seeing her about to cut her hair, Sylvia helps. She reads about witches who could destroy kingdoms in a night, but Tain Nasa isn't like that. Sylvia thinks witches can do anything, but she disagrees, joking even she couldn't stop Oscar's proposals. They meet the king to introduce her not as a witch, but as his future wife. He hopes she'll break the curse. Oscar teases that if not, she must bear his child. The scene shifts to mysterious figures collecting the beast's gem, plotting something. Another witch appears, Lan Nach, an old acquaintance AnimeTáiSinh seeks. He avoids her, claiming he came to deal with the beast but was too late. He stopped from leaving, pushing his companion away before being erased. Meanwhile, Oscar and Lagia investigate recent forest incidents. He doesn't want AnimeTáiSinh involved, feeling sidelined. Lagia spots illusionary plants and nearly gets attacked. Oscar charges in, slashing, but they're resilient and spew poison. He's unaffected, but Lagia is poisoned and collapses. This draws another beautiful witch. When Lagia wakes, she introduces herself as Lucia Aya, the witch of the Forbidden Forest. She's acquainted with AnimeTáiSinh and inquires about her. Recognizing Oscar's protective barrier, she realizes AnimeTáiSinh is guarding him. The tower's trials are tough, yet Oscar brought her back, proving he's extraordinary. She laughs at his marriage ambitions, explaining AnimeTáiSinh has reached the spirit witch realm, where purity is key, so they might never share a bed. Heartbroken, he declines her offer of stimulants. She's tempted his mind, but he returns safely. AnimeTáiSinh asks if they went anywhere while she was out, and they deny it. In a surge of magic, they all teleport to the northern fortress, the closest to Lake Drew. This place is forever linked to a tale from 70 years ago, when the kingdom of Ruza attempted invasion, but was valiantly repelled. Back then, they summoned a mighty high-level beast, yet it spiraled out of control, leaving destruction in its wake as it ravaged everything. Fortunately, AnimeTáiSinh sealed it away back then, but the devastation it wrought on this land was immense. The soil remains barren year-round, poisoned by dark miasma. Sensing someone nearby, AnimeTáiSinh calls him out. Of course, he recognizes her as the Moon Witch. Everyone panics upon realizing this young woman is the same witch from 70 years ago. He's just a kid who miraculously survived. Now, 70 years later, he seeks revenge by unleashing the beast. Knowing he can't face the legendary Moon Witch alone, his surprise attack wounds Oscar's team. Yet, he possesses magic resistance, shielding a few others. Thassa strikes, but it's merely an illusion. She rushes to save the wounded, facing the doubts of her companions. Seeing this, she apologizes, not wanting to instill fear. Oscar asks if they should retreat, as the place is too dangerous. She doesn't want anyone to die, so she insists on going alone. Hearing this, Men demands to join but gets scolded. As the king, he shouldn't rush into peril. He argues that this involves his kingdom, refusing to let her bear the burden alone. She sighs, reassuring him that she'll be fine, their bond strong enough for her to handle it. And she promises to return, so Oscar lets her go. Before departing, that madman demands she promise to marry him upon her return, but she refuses. Meanwhile, their foes desperately try to break the seal. But AnimeTáiSinh arrives swiftly. The fate of those fools is swift death. One lucky survivor witnesses the beast's revival, as AnimeTáiSinh allows it. This time, she won't seal it, she aims to destroy it utterly. After 70 years, the beast remains as formidable as ever. The clash of titans begins. AnimeTáiSinh unleashes thunderbolts from the heavens, but they barely scratch it. Its fur grants immense spell resistance, with speed and strength beyond compare, and rapid regeneration that marks it as a monster among monsters. The Moon Witch then binds it with nether chains. She chants a supreme spell to end it, but it breaks free and strikes back viciously. Thassa barely manages a finishing blow, vaporizing it, before collapsing in a dire state. Oscar calls healers, learning she's stabilized herself. Sylvia realizes AnimeTáiSinh had mended her wounds and organs before anyone could intervene. Visiting, they find her undressed, so they steal a glance. Later, AnimeTáiSinh reveals she self-regenerated her body, her appearance unchanged, save for longer hair. With the beast defeated, Oscar thanks her profusely. If it had returned, who knows the chaos? Days later, things stabilize. Sylvia, unafraid of AnimeTáiSinh, is assigned to care for her. Seeing her about to cut her hair, Sylvia offers to help. Reading about witches who could destroy kingdoms in a night, Sylvia notes Thassa doesn't fit that mold. She thinks witches can do anything. AnimeTáiSinh disagrees, citing her inability to stop Oscar's marriage proposals. They meet the king to introduce the witch, or, rather, the future wife. He's taken aback, hoping AnimeTáiSinh can lift the curse. He jokes that if not, she must bear his child. The scene shifts to mysterious figures who've collected the beast's gem shard. They're plotting something when another witch appears. He's an old acquaintance of the Moon Witch, the one she's long sought. He avoids reunion, claiming he's here just to handle the beast, but he's too late. As he tries to leave, he's blocked, forcing him to send his companion away before vanishing. Meanwhile, Oscar and his companion investigate recent forest incidents. Men resents the witch's involvement, feeling sidelined. La spots illusory plants, nearly getting attacked. Oscar charges in, sword drawn, but these things are resilient and spew poison. Oscar escapes unharmed, but his companion succumbs to the toxin and collapses. This draws another stunning witch. When La awakens, she introduces herself as Lucia Ia, the witch of the Forbidden Forest. Naturally, she knows Thaynasa and inquires about her. She recognizes the protective barrier on Ascano. One else could have done that. She thought her friend was still in the tower, not serving as his guardian. The tower's trials are tough, and for Oscar to bring her back so easily, he's no ordinary man. It's amusing that he wants to marry her. Lucia Ia explains Thaynasa has reached the realm of Spirit Witch. Such beings must remain pure, so they might never share a bed. Hearing this, he's disheartened, so she teases about selling him stimulants, but he declines. Men is later influenced by her mind magic but returns safely. Thaynasa asks if they went anywhere while she was out, and they deny it. Oscar seems off after the mind influence, even seeing illusions around Thaynasa the next day. She senses something wrong and questions La, but he stays silent. She confides in the mages that the prince's mind is wavering, perhaps due to a secret lover. Pondering, she realizes they've met Lucia Ia and confronts Oscar. He downplays it, but she warns him he's in grave danger. That witch used tricks to make him dream of sleeping with her in illusions, draining his life force. He might not survive 7 days. To break it, she makes him sleep to enter the dream and resolve it from within. The lover he's always dreamed of is none other than Thaynasa. His true self from the outside controls Oscar, forcing the imposter to fade away. This scene is utterly heart-wrenching. Even as an enemy, it wears the face of the one he loves, igniting a storm of rage. Life force returns soon after, but this is the deepest scar he'll carry. As for sharing a tender moment, she simply won't allow it. He heads to confront that woman, and they blame each other. It's pure madness. One casts a harmful spell, while the other undoes it and nearly ends themselves. It's just their way of greeting after years apart. Without it, Thasa might never have visited. Lucia Ia knows about the curse on Oscar from the silent sorceress. To break it, she gives her friend a gift, the blood and heart of that man. Thasa tries to save her friend by keeping such things, and it's clear Oscar loves her deeply, so she advises returning to warm his soul. The next day, when visiting him, she's pulled into his embrace. He apologizes for hiding secrets from her. Thasa loves him too, so she holds him close and regrets creating his nightmares. A few days later, Oscar spars with his soldiers as usual, but none last more than 2 minutes. Thaynasa watches and leaves, only to be called back by men for a duel, even allowing magic, which surprises her. She wonders how strong this man is, and if Oscar could slay a sorceress like her. She agrees to fight, but on one condition. He must use the acacia sword. The battle begins with Thaynasa's magical assault. The onlookers are amazed as she uses spells to close in on her foe, defying common wizardry and showcasing her immense power. Their clash is intense and gripping, but truly she's guiding Oscar's growth. He realizes he can see the invisible now. This is truly wondrous. The fight pauses as her sword starts to break. He asks if his wife wait. Thaynasa held back. If she fought seriously, how could she only have minor wounds? Yet Oscar keeps flirting, vowing he'd never kill her, no matter what. Thaynasa has so much left to do, like lifting the curse on him, so she proposes marriage, but he gets rejected because she's older. The next day, trouble brews as an ambassador from Kuskol demands to meet the Blue Moon sorceress. Her presence here is supposed to be secret, yet they know. This irks Oscar, so his father sends him to handle it. The ambassador introduces himself as Kaga, solely here to meet the greatest sorceress. Oscar lies, saying no one is here, but when Kaga reveals Thaynasa's true name, Eti, he's shocked and agrees. Meanwhile, she's unaware, meeting an intriguing maid named Miralis. Miralis radiates immense power, piquing Thaynasa's curiosity, but she doesn't dig deeper. She visits Lucia Ia, who asks about the spar with Oscar. Lucia wonders if her friend seeks death or just wants to see her fight. She praises the prince highly, believing he can grow without Thaynasa's help, but has no clear answer why she fought him, perhaps just in case someone could end her if things go wrong. Just then, men and his aide arrive to discuss the ambassador. He calls her Eti, shocking everyone since that's her real name. They meet Kaga, and she forbids him from using her old name. When asked why he seeks her, he reveals Kuzen is restoring mage rights and wants her to lead. She refuses flatly. He's not worthy without climbing the tower. He's only here because Oscar allowed it, so he leaves fuming, eyeing ways to drive a wedge between them. Thaynasa rejects the offer, and Lucia Ia has never heard of Kuzen, a small nation independent for just 5 years. Suddenly, Marina is manipulated and attacks the sorceresses, but Men stops it before tragedy strikes. Oscar demands answers as Marina accuses Thaynasa of deceiving Men and demands she leave, leaving her saddened despite hearing such words before this time. It stings deeply. Lucia Ia explains Marina's mind is controlled, so they seek her help to undo it, though it's tough. Oscar asks when Thane Nasa last cried. She can't remember, it's been so long. That night, Lucia Aya heals her, but seeing her friend's sorrow pains her too. The next day, Oscar is summoned to the tower for training. Thane Nasa sent Lotina to investigate that nation, so he must be cautious. This spa will be more serious but safe. After, he learns she's doing this to give him more options for the future, like using power if danger arises. The following days, they duel constantly after his duties. Today, it's tougher fighting two warriors at once with blinding spells. She explains he dodged it before at the palace. He's close this time, just needs more focus. He's exhausted, but after days of battles, he collapses into his love's arms, asleep. That evening he finds her focused on something and wraps his arms around her waist. She's grown used to his touches over time. Now, he senses his own magic, and knows mastering it requires basic knowledge, but using Acacia limits it. The next day, Thane Nasa teaches him to extinguish flames by severing the magic flow. It's easy in theory, but feeling the core is different. After a few wild swings, he grasps the principle and succeeds. Just then, adventurers arrive to climb the tower and offer to spar with Oscar. Thane Nasa ensures no one dies, so he fights freely. This is his final training. He asks if he could beat her seriously. Their bond is special, so only time will tell. Basic knowledge. But with the Acacia blade, he couldn't activate it, just sense a bit of magic. Next day, Thane Nasa taught him to extinguish flames by cutting the magic flow. Sounds easy, but feeling the core is hard. He swung wildly and succeeded. Just then, adventurers arrived. To climb the tower, they need sparring partners, so they let Oscar fight them. Thane Nasa ensured no one dies, so fight freely. This is the final training, so he asked if he could beat her seriously. She didn't know, as their special bond would reveal it in battle. News about Cusk Skull arrived, with about 200 sorcerers gathered there. That's unthinkable, as other nations have at most 20 to 30. They're likely gathering to spark war. For now, they need more info, so they asked Thane Nasa to investigate. Just then, sad news came. The old general who taught Oscar swordsmanship has passed away. Swordsmanship to Oscar has died. The funeral followed with grief. Morales was here because he saved her, so she's devastated. Unlearned of the prince's curse, seeing it as tragic since Oscar must marry Thane Nasa or face it. But marrying would cut the bloodline, and she doesn't want to. Pushing the child to anyone. A asked why she's unhappy with our prince. Embarrassed, she couldn't name any flaws in him. Scene shifts to Kaga, now facing Morales' revenge. She learned his lord killed someone she owed. She summoned a flesh-eater to devour him painfully until death. Today, Thassa had an old dream. About the one she always seeks. Back then, their feelings were strong and she trusted him fully, but that trust led to their separation. Next day, Oscar was called by his father about his fiancée. He discussed with Thane Nasa, and the result was positive. His future queen needs extreme magic resistance to handle the deadly curse. Here, actually, there's a perfect queen candidate, the maid Morales. She's sealed but has magic far exceeding court sorcerers. Breaking the seal, she could handle his curse. He acted uninterested, but his father insisted. For the royal future, and Oscar's, no need to befriend the left hand anymore. A week later, he asked Morales about his seals, learning there are two, one from his mother, the other from someone else. Thane Nasa has been missing for a week, frustrating him. She's at the tower, telling Lucia about finding a future wife for him, so he doesn't need to worry. She wondered if her friend was serious, as Thane Nasa seems perfect for Oscar. Though a sorceress, she's still human. She ignored it and continued her research. That afternoon, Lotina reported a challenger. Before, she had sealed the tower hides many secrets, so she doesn't know who it is. As he finishes, Oscar arrives, using the portal from before to sneak in. This time, he clears the challenges even faster. It's incredible. He scolds Thane Nasa for leaving without permission. She explains she's researching the blessing from the silent sorceress. It's so complex, even she is terrified. Oscar wants no one else as his bride, so he flirts and demands she make dinner. The next day, Anne seeks her about Morales. He's checked his mentor's belongings, the one who brought Herond, there's no mention. Her background is blank, and now the king sees her as the prince's fiancée. He wants to investigate Thane Nasa thoroughly. He suspected her from the start. Before she came, they sought a wife for Oscar but found no one suitable except sorceresses. Morales' sudden appearance is suspicious. She hasn't exposed her because she senses no ill intent. Just then, Morales arrives, so they set a trap to test her. As expected, when Anne calls her Thassa, Morales doesn't react, but that's what makes her dangerous. This fake kiss makes Oscar, watching above, burn with jealousy. Later, he summons her and seals her sorcery with a powerful artifact even Thane Nasa can't remove. He admits he brought her here not for another man but to claim her beauty for himself. This reminds Thane Nasser of that man, making her lose control. Though sealed, her power still ravages the room. Oscar calms her, revealing it's just a joke, but his jealousy is real, so he won't remove it. Once calm, they clear up the Kaga misunderstanding. He's already dealt with the aide for touching his love. Now, he wants no more secrets about Morales. Thane Nasser thinks she's being used but has no proof of guilt. Due to the earlier misunderstanding with Kay, I already gave that SS guy a thrashing for daring to touch the one he loves. Once he learned they're investigating Morales, he refused to let her hide anything more. Thane Nasser suspects she's being manipulated and lacks any proof of her guilt. Soon after, Oscar holds a meeting to reveal to his father and the officials that he's marrying someone other than Thane Nasser himself. As the sole heir, even his father has to accept it, let alone anyone else objecting. Morales shows her irritation upon hearing those words. Oscar seizes the chance to investigate her thoroughly. Cornered, she summons the beast that Thane Nasser had defeated before, but in a smaller form. In saving others, she gets wounded. Morales reveals herself as the girl from Lake Ruza. At the beginning, she didn't plan to harm Thane Nasser, but now exposed, she goes all out. Oscar then removes the ring from his wife to help her recover. She tells men to stay away, as this battle is intense. Oscar disagrees, wanting to support her since she trained him before. Due to her blood earlier, the protective barrier is neutralized. Still, Men remains confident. Thassa, despite losing one eye, boasts about her spell-casting skills. Yet, this smaller beast is incredibly strong, shattering her defenses completely. Their goal is to capture Morales alive, not kill her. Thane Nasser could have done that already. Realizing this, Morales unleashes her special ability. These small orbs explode like bombs, keeping the Blue Moon sorceress at bay, so they rely on Oscar to buy time, 1 or 2 moments for Thane Nasser to chant her spell. He's held back by the beast but still shields his wife safely. Remembering how Thane Nasser once risked everything to protect him and the kingdom, he shifts from defense to attack. The controlled beast is just a toy, so Men tricks it. He shoves one of Morales' bombs into its mouth, blowing it to pieces. Dead on the spot. With her chance gone, Thane Nasser finishes her binding spell instantly. The entire area turns pitch black, but to uncover why the enemy came, she releases Morales. Confused, Morales heads to the warehouse for what she wants but gets captured. Thassa hints that in the future, he'll encounter the illusion he's always sought, referring to the young sorcerer who struck her lover at Lake Ruza. As she tries to escape, Thane Nasser uses an invisible spell to restrain her. With no way out, Morales destroys her own soul. By the time Oscar arrives, it's all over. Now, she's just a soulless husk. The gem holding various ancient scripts that she wanted is actually from Oscar's mother. Thassa later heals her eye and receives an apology from Men. She asks about that orb, but he doesn't know its purpose. Mentioning his mother gives the young man a headache. In the end, she cares for him, but he still refuses marriage. He thinks to himself that no matter what, he can't be with this man, and hopes his dark past won't touch him. The scene shifts to Lan Nash and his gang, using sorcerer powers to ravage the town. Before them, he declares a new era is dawning and continues his invasion plans. Meanwhile, Thane Nasser receives news of Lan Nash, the one she's sought for 400 years. Knowing he's plotting something, she must prepare countermeasures. That night, she pushes to lift the curse, preventing her from bearing children for Oscar. By morning, everything is in place. He wakes up covered in blood and calls the sorceress for an explanation. She reveals she cast a powerful counter-curse on Men, making the two curses cancel each other out. Now, the fertility curse is gone, so Oscar can confidently use his charms to woo women. Men pulls her close in gratitude. By noon, the young man asks her, she joined the king's birthday with me. She refused, fearing it would draw attention. La announced Prince Rose couldn't attend due to war with Kusk Shoal. They learned Kusk's sorcerers burned a town, igniting war. Thassa worried, so she called Men to talk. She asked if he likes the dragon always following her. No? It's nah, and from now on, Oscar will be her new master. Their feelings are growing, and Thane Nasser allows a kiss, thrilling Men. That evening, the feast unfolds with guests from everywhere. Our prince leads his wife in, astonishing everyone. He usually attends alone, but now brings his partner to toast the king. This must mean wedding bells are near. Right after, Men must mingle with the guests. His father calls Thassa for a chat. Oscar meets the princess of Tiri, named Celica. She's here for her brother, so he asks about the war. They seem confident with their strong sorcerers. Thane Nasser receives sincere thanks from the king. Just then, that woman pulls Men aside, wearing a smug expression that irritates Thane Nasser. The king notices and teases that she should marry his son to keep him in line. In the room, Oscar runs out of words with that girl. He wants to ask about Kuzan, but she just brags about herself. Right then, Thassa enters, not out of jealousy but because something serious is brewing. She shoos the girl away, enraging her since she's a princess. Celica calls the sorceress a mere wizard, only to be met with an icy glare that subdues her instantly. Thane Nassa casts a spell on her, revealing that she should have died 400 years ago. So, Oscar mustn't be swayed by the dead and remember the kingdom's future depends on him. The spell prevents men from whispering sweet nothings. Immediately after, Lan Nash appears. Thane Nassa is overjoyed to see her old acquaintance. He offers her rule over Cusk Shoal. Seeing men watching, he moves to attack since Oscar wields the acacia sword, but she stops him. She bids farewell to him, having lifted the original curse. Men can't accept it and wants to fight, but Thane Nassa coldly warns not to touch Lan Nash. Knowing persistence means death, but letting her go is unbearable, Lan Nash sees it's taking too long and takes her away. The next day, Oscar is furious at losing his wife. After finishing paperwork, he plans to head to the Sorcerer Forest to see his friend, and she's there. Of course, she knows her friend has left, so she checks on Oscar. Lucia Ia is invited to Cusk but refuses, saying she's not free to play with those odd folks. The other sorcerers have also declined. However, Thane Nassa alone is enough to threaten the world. If she truly wants to rule, wars will erupt everywhere. Men asks about Lan Nash and her relationship. Lucia Ia says Thane Nassa has always sought him. Asked if he's jealous, he says she's his one and only. Even if nothing happened, he'd kill that guy and bring her back. Hearing this, Lucia Ia shares what her friend told her 400 years ago. Thassa comes from the Tunda Empire, a magic realm that vanished in one night. She's royalty, more precisely, the future supreme queen. If it wasn't destroyed, it's a meritocracy where the strongest rules. Not just royals or nobles, Thane Nassa was incredibly powerful from birth, so she was separated from her parents and the palace. When of age, the strongest man and woman are chosen to marry, and her fiancé is Lan Nash the Dark, but their power gap is vast. She's much stronger, so unfortunate events unfolded that night. Lan Nash carried her away after weakening her with a spell. He stabbed her repeatedly in one spot and performed a ritual to steal her power by sacrificing her blood and flesh. He summoned an evil force. But that force was too immense to control. One by one, the wicked vanished. Lan Nash fled, leaving Thane Nassa with the massive energy. In agony, she destroyed the kingdom and saved herself by becoming its host. Though her wounds healed, the physical and emotional pain lingered. For 3 days, Thassa lived in torment. Magic overflowed, absorbing souls and creating 5 mysterious lakes across the continent. Oscar asks how she feels about him, and Lucia Ia confirms she loves him. If not for the seal she placed earlier, he would have died by Lan Nash. Their bond is the dragon she cherishes, and after understanding, Men orders to hunt that hated one and bring his wife back. Later, at school, he's informed that Ta'iri is losing to Cusco, with thousands dead. The Blue Moon sorceress acts, evaporating people in an area. Since they're allied with Ta'iri, Oscar will be sent to defeat Thane Nassa. The king is furious knowing his son won't harm her. No matter what he says, it's useless as the boy is just like him in his youth. He agrees to let Men do as he wishes, but he must become king afterward. The scene shifts to Prince Rose, stuck in the war, when Thane Nassa appears. This time she brings 2 attendants, and that rude one jumps in before speaking, so she sends her away. She announces that in 2 weeks everything will end, demanding he not lead troops to QS Skull. He resents her for such a demand. Thassa sees this kingdom as a filthy entity in history's whirlpool. Here, they harm infants, let alone women. Though Rose wants reform, this won't achieve it. So, she makes that demand for him to decide his kingdom's fate. If he listens, things might improve later. Thassa then returns to Lan Nash. He wants to use her power to cover the continent through the 5 lakes. He still resents not matching her, but endures, thinking Thane Nassa is asleep. She, of course, notices everything and quietly executes her own plan. A week later, Oscar hasn't been deployed or done anything. He doesn't understand what Ta'iri is thinking. Now, reports say their people are evaporating too. Thane Nassa targets the 4 strongest nations. Just then, Celica seeks him out to talk. Since arriving, she's been pestering him daily, even though he doesn't like it. She mentions knowing Thane Nassa is the Blue Moon sorceress, and that she's been visiting her brother lately. Hearing this, he angrily demands she take him there. When they arrive, he's fearful because Oscar is very strong. Thassa appears but withdraws immediately upon seeing her love. The next day, Men prepares to attack Kusk after talking with Ross. Learning today is the day Thane Nassa said everything would end. Lucia Ia investigated and found those evaporated by Thane Nassa are safe in her invisible barrier. So, she's fighting alone. Lucia Ia asks men to be her shield. Right after, Lan Nash's sorcerer arrives to greet them. He teleports everyone to Tunda's ruins. It's surrounded by enemies. Isnar appears, saying he wants to rule all. If Oscar and his people submit, they'll be spared. Thane Nasa then appears in bridal attire, standing before her love, wearing this to marry another. It's truly tense. The ritual proceeds. Tassa becomes. She doesn't care for me. She spoke of knowing that Thane Nasa is the Blue Moon Witch, and recently she's been seeking out this girl's brother. Hearing this, he flared with anger and demanded she take him there right away. Once inside, that young man trembled in fear, for Oscar's strength is overwhelming. Tharza appeared soon after, but seeing the one she loves, she withdrew instantly. The next day, men rallied his forces to attack USC after. After talking with Ross, Oscar learned that today is the day Thane Nasa said everything would end. Lucia Aya had already investigated and discovered that those made to vanish by Thane Nasa are safe within her invisible barrier. So, she's facing the enemy alone. Lucia Aya asked men to become her shield. Right then, the Wizard of Lanik arrived to greet them. He also teleported everyone to the ancient ruins of Tunda. It was a perfect ambush all around. Na appeared, declaring he wants to rule everything. If Oscar and his people submit, they'll be spared. Thane Nasa then showed up in a bride's gown, standing before her beloved, yet wearing this dress to marry another. What a heart-wrenching twist. The ritual began, and Thassa turned into a source of power for Lanak, creating a birdcage by linking the mysterious lakes. He could oversee and rule the entire continent forever. After successfully connecting the 5 mysterious lakes, Thassa betrayed him, seizing control of the magic, and revealing she'd been searching for him all along. He thought she'd forgotten the past, but every wound was etched in her memory. She vowed to avenge herself and the innocent lives lost 400 years ago. Lanak tried to attack, but it backfired. He ordered others to neutralize Thane Nasa, but it wasn't that simple. She raised a barrier for herself and Oscar's group to counterattack. Her 2 attendants were a bit outmatched, putting their master in danger. Thankfully, men stepped in. He promised to be the shield and earned a few more minutes of time. Demons were then summoned. Oscar's soldiers were fierce warriors, charging bravely into the fray against the wizards. The enemy excelled at long-range spells, but up close they crumbled like dust. Thane Nasa chanted a legendary incantation, leaving her attendants in awe. This was the ancient coronation rite of Tunda. Kings once called spirits to serve, but summoning all 12 like she did was unheard of. Oscar's foe was arrogant, dismissing men entirely. He unleashed a massive fire spell, thinking victory was his, until Oscar struck him down. The spirits then bound themselves to Tunda's true heir. The 12 spirits returned after 400 years, with one red-haired girl thrilling at the call. Thane Nasa commanded them to clear all obstacles, but without killing. Now, the Blue Moon Witch held the battlefield in her grasp. Terrified, Lanak tried to flee again. But exhausted, he faced Oscar the Wanderer. No forgiveness for him, Oscar ended it swiftly. The wronged spirits from the 5 lakes were finally freed. The Alliance reformed, bringing hope to the land. With the battle won, a new era dawned, as Thane Nasa's light guided them forward, mending old wounds and forging unbreakable bonds. The nations returned because he's the Acacia wielder. Yet, he ignored them, and went to his love. She was exhausted and fainted. Waking up, she found herself in her husband's home, having slept for 7 days. Everything resolved as Thane Nasa wished, except she wasn't struck by Oscar's sword. The opportunist mentioned she's now part of is formed. That day, he publicly declares Thane Nasa as his fiancée, so bringing her back was easy. Hearing this, she tentatively agrees and thinks about it later. A few days later, they return to Tunda to harvest the remaining treasures. It's like a treasure trove, delighting everyone. Among them is a familiar item, its structure like the red gem of Tane. Nasa decides to take it to the tower for study. The next day, back in the kingdom, they find orphaned children living there. These are survivors from a village attacked a year ago. The soldiers try to send help as fast as possible, saving only these kids and a girl. The culprit is the Yo tribe, wandering bandits, Elzes, the village chief's wife, and now cares for the children. Nasa feels deep sympathy for the girl. Later, Els tells the kids a story from 200 years ago in the village, about a swordsman who saved the people and was proposed to by the village's most beautiful girl. He refused and left for an absurd reason. That man was the son of that girl from the future, returning to save his mother. He wanted to change the past for her happiness, even if it meant not being born. Asking Thane Nasa what she'd do, she thinks one shouldn't alter the past. That afternoon, the couple is arranged a room by the locals, assuming they're a pair. Thane Nasa turns into a cat to avoid being taken advantage of at night. She'll stay that way until they leave. That night, Nasa dreams of someone with green eyes. Oscar demands an explanation, learning he entered someone's dream. This is rare, so she's sure someone here emits strong emotional waves while sleeping. The next day, they go to the Yo tribe's territory. The Yo tribe blocks them to protect the villages from destruction in the area. Their forces are overwhelmingly vast. Nasa snarls at them defiantly, but Men holds her back, wanting her to stay hidden. The Yo leader emerges with bold confidence, introducing himself as Javi and diving straight into his demands. This villain seeks to steal the most precious treasures women. He demands the woman he failed to capture a year ago. As a reward, both sides will duel one-on-one. If he wins, he'll claim what he desires. If he loses, Oscar can do as he pleases with him. They head to the Yo playground, shrouded in mystery. Legends speak of a god who once visited this place. Thassa senses something off here. Oscar still wants to fight, proposing a deal. If he wins, they stop their raids forever. Elsa is then brought forward. Facing the man who killed her husband, she shows no submission, but something strangely resolute. The duel begins at once. He's truly skilled with a sword, yet he's still outmatched by Men. Swiftly, Oscar severs one of his arms, demanding he honor his promise. Elsa, hearing the killer's name, rushes in with worry for his arm. He realizes the dream from last night was hers. Oscar tells his wife to heal the man's wound, but after stopping the bleed with magic, Elsa suddenly goes mad. Her powers erupt wildly, forcing the Blue Moon sorceress to evacuate everyone. Some dark force from beneath the earth amplifies Nasa's abilities, weakening her. She has no choice but to throw Acacia toward the source. Accidentally, the kitten falls in. Oscar drops his sword to save his wife. Soaked in her cat form, she acts playfully, urging her to transform back and continue seeking the root of this chaos. Upon touching that power, it merged into her, causing loss of control. They enter the Yo sanctuary. They find ancient stories carved on stones. After exploring, Nasa learns more about the mentioned god. She wants to dig deeper but tells Men to stay back. Without Acacia, he can't block magic now. Oscar insists on joining, grabbing some swords here and promising to find his blade later. Inside, dark smoke attacks them. Thassa raises a barrier for protection. Men will seek the source to buy time for his wife to think. Finally, they reach where Elsa is possessed by the darkness. He charges in to attack, but it has no effect. His sword turns to dust against that immense power. Thassa appears, but she's unstable, feeling worse the closer she gets. Now, she can only use half her strength. This battle is tough. Their goal is to destroy the entity inside without killing the host outside. For now, they must reclaim the sacred sword first. Men spots it in the corner and plans to seize it. Gree appears, vowing not to let the girl die. Thassa understands his feelings and explains, if they don't act, once it fully escapes, that power will cause catastrophe. Ravi begs them to save her, so Thassa steps in. She asks Oscar again, if I become the world's enemy, will you strike me down? He refuses, saying he'd only do it as a last resort to save the world. Hearing this, she feels at peace, thanking the man she loves with a kiss. Then, they proceed with the plan. Reclaiming Acacia, the darkness in Elsa yearns to invade the Blue Moon sorceress's body more. So, it's drawn to her, leaving Elsa to possess Nasa. Oscar didn't foresee this and begs her not to, but it's too late. For now, the dark power is contained, yet to eliminate it, they still need the sacred sword's strength. She traps it in a crystal. She wants Men to strike there. She's aligned it to the least dangerous spot, so it's safe. Men is thrust into this dilemma without preparation, but seeing Thassa's serious face, he agrees. One thrust through the crystal pierces the darkness and her body. The next day, she's recovered. As for Elsa, she's safe with Javi, who is her son, returning to rescue his mother. After resolving everything, Oscar teases his wife about not turning into a cat anymore and steals a kiss, making her blush deeply. A few days later, Lucia visits. Learning Nasa let Oscar stab her with Acacia. For sorceresses like them, it's like suicide. Luckily, nothing went wrong. Nasa has vanquished the evil within. Overall, she deeply trusts that young man. Lucia mentions their one-year pact. Once it ends, what will they do next? This thought weighs on the Blue Moon sorceress, showing her profound love. The scene shifts to another part of the castle. The generals discuss the approaching new year. They hope their prince finds a queen, making the year ahead even more joyful. The one mentioned is Nasa. After her help, they no longer fear sorceresses. Yet, some disagree. Nor, a stern and fearless man, thinks marrying a sorceress is absurd. He mocks Nasa as queen of a non-existent land. She overhears but doesn't care. He urges her to leave once their pact ends. She considers it, thinking she might erase Oscar's memories. But if he finds out, he'd be furious. Pyrrha, feeling her master disrespected, grows angry. Thananasa doesn't dwell on such people. Sorceresses like them are seen as threats, so his worry for the prince is understandable. That afternoon, the two girls talk about those words. Is it serious? She thinks that if Oscar stops her from leaving, she might still erase his memories. Pyrrha disagrees with such one-sided love. Thaza hopes he lives happily after breaking the curse. Oscar has no more burdens. If she vanishes, he'd find another to fulfill his duties. The blonde doesn't want that future. If Thananasa wants to fade, she should live and die as an ordinary person. First, she must claim her own happiness. Touched, the sorceress embraces her friend. The sky sparkles with stars, so Thananasa captures it in an orb to admire. Later, she visits her love, surprising him. Late at night, has she come for more? She gives him the orb. He happily accepts it, asking why she looks so sad. Though she hides her emotions, Oscar sees through it. He catches her trying magic. She lies, saying she's just testing spirit spells. He trusts her, advising marriage instead. Their past debt is paid. He suggests she abandon sorcery and become his true wife. Men says marrying him could reverse aging, letting her live as a normal person until old age. Before she responds, he seals it with a kiss. This is routine for Thananasa now. She tells Oscar to stop. He won't force it. If she doesn't want it, he stops. It's hard to say, so he wants her to find the answer soon. She's already fallen for him. As she's about to leave, his aide rushes in with documents. Oscar threatens to kill him if he doesn't leave. Thassa suddenly senses something wrong. The kingdom is under surprise demon attack. The castle barriers are shattered. Chaos erupts. Oscar's warriors fight bravely. Nor is attacked, but Thananasa arrives in time to help. With her spells, destroying these demons is effortless. He thanks her and asks her to protect the prince. He'll handle the demons in the kingdom. She summons spirits, commanding storms and rain to extinguish fires everywhere. These events seem part of a planned scheme. Oscar slays many demons and rejoices as order returns. Seeing a maid nearby, he reaches out unaware she's targeting him. Poison injects into men instantly, piercing even Thananasa's barrier. She quickly senses the anomaly and rushes to help. Seeing the poison on him, she fears and freezes time in his body to halt its spread. But to cure it, they need an expert, Lucia, who arrives unaware. Examining the traces, she calls it a natural toxin from dark times with no antidote. Thananasa has a way, with her friend's help. She wants to turn her body into an serum inside him. Time will slow for her, even against this poison. During that, she aims to create antibodies herself to save him. Lucia objects as it's reckless if she fails, it's death. Still, she's determined and begs for help. Lucia calms and asks about the man. Is he worth such risk? Her answer comes without hesitation. So, Lucia transfers the toxin to Thananasa. This poison is fierce. Even the Blue Moon sorceress might not endure the pain and stay sane. If so, she'll die before creating antibodies. Thananasa's final request is to erase Oscar's memories of her. Lucia refuses, saying if she dies, she'll make him regret forever. The next day, Men wakes with the poison gone. He remembers nothing, as Lucia sealed his memories of Thananasa. Everyone knows but stays silent. Oscar feels something missing. That afternoon, he gazes at the orb from Thananasa, making Nor thoughtful. Asked about before he woke, Nor just urges the prince to find a woman. Perhaps the bespectacled man is influenced by Thananasa's actions, using this to remind Oscar of his true love. Her image flashes back, so he heads to their secret room. Lucia appears, asking what he's doing. Has she silenced his memories? Yet, Men recalls and searches for Thananasa, finding her bedridden from the poison. Though slowed, it's spread everywhere. Her time is short. The pain clouds the Blue Moon sorceress's mind. Luckily, her iron will let her chant spells. Knowing it's his fault, Oscar apologizes. He wants to see her, but Lucia stops him. No woman wants that. He promises responsibility, so he gets that embrace. Perhaps it's what helps Thaza create antibodies. The next day, she wakes, delighting Lucia. She heals her wounds and lets her see him. Oscar stays calm, but tears flow inside. Asking about her, she says she's fine. He doubts, demanding she smile to prove it. What he's thinking, who knows? He asks her feelings beyond their pact. Thananasa admits he's irreplaceable. Hearing this, he's overjoyed, teasing her to think more about him. She shares this with friends. They advise her to admit her love. He wonders what she's thinking. Her heart says love, but her mind is unclear. Asking who thinks she loves him, all raise hands. She gets frustrated, causing chaos, but Lucia urges honesty as it's true. Overwhelmed, her mind spins. She considers killing Oscar to test her heart. They meet, but it's not as she said. Before him, she's weak and can't strike. He conquers her, and reason yields to emotion. After so much, she cries, confessing, and they immerse in happiness. That night, they share their first intimacy. Thananasa struggles with spells now, but she's content with her happiness and plans to train more. He says after marriage she'll have Thanos' royal privileges to learn what she wants. On marriage, she hesitates. As his love fulfills her, Oscar insists. A few days later, with the new year near, he tells her of the royal custom. They ride horses to introduce themselves, per ancient tradition. It's well prepared, as evil might strike. Then, little La arrives, reporting visitors at the Green Tower. Though always closed, this is odd, so she reports. 5 young visitors under 10 want to see Thananasa. Knowing this, she returns to ask what the kids want. Initially skeptical, they tell of northern events. Instead of rain, there's hail this year. The others think he's lying, so they came to ask the sorceress. She thinks it's just snow, but they risk bandits to come. These kids mention Oscar, saying he grew stronger here, so they want to be strong like men. She explains he trained hard before. To match him, they must practice martial arts. After, she opens a portal to send them home safely, and uses spells to watch for other kids. Back with Oscar, he asks why she avoids marriage. Is it him? She mentions the magic in men. He wants to hear it all, so she shares. He has impressive magic power, sealed since childhood. If she bears his child, it could be an unmatched sorcerer. Does he want their kids to suffer as sorcerers? Worse, a daughter might be feared like her. If a son, he could use acacia to suppress it, like men. Perhaps his father knew and gave him the sword early. As she guesses, his mother or someone sealed his power. They need to investigate more. On marriage, he insists. If they have kids, teach them about power and life. He hopes she doesn't deny their chance to be born. New Year's scene. Men and guards ride for celebrations. All are joyful, seeing the prince with his lady. At the ritual, Oscar gazes thoughtfully at her. Thananasa stays alert, as expected, spotting enemies. The Blue Moon sorceress uses lightning to scare them off. Another watcher is the kid from before. The others, recognizing her as the sorceress, follow curiously. She gently sends them home as rain falls, speeding things up. She turns the rain to glowing snow, creating a stunning scene for the new year. Oscar carries his tired wife to rest, making her happy. She mentions marriage and needs more time. Men says he'll ask his father about his mother. He recalls his father saying he's like him, perhaps selfishly marrying a sorceress. So what? He's glad she was born, letting him be with his wife now. Scene shifts to sorceress Leonora, obsessed with the Blue Moon sorceress. Learning she's in love, she orders Thananasa's assassination, as she's weakened. The next day, Thananasa tells the prince of the upcoming ceremony in 2 weeks. He doesn't want to go, preferring other matters. Legia insists, so he wants her along with support. She just wants to escort, not debut. He says that's not enough, as she's his fiancée. Hearing this, she agrees to visit Gandon, flustered. She's been there before to slay monsters and is cautious now. She tells him to alert her if he senses anything. She'll watch from afar. Later, at the feast, Chavis invites Thananasa for a drink. They know each other, and he notes her maturity, likely from love. He says despite her power, she's been hurt. Glancing at Oscar, Chavis admits if men were a woman, he'd want her for her qualities. Asked his role, he's now Gandon's duke. Seeing her love, Thananasa smiles, losing guard. He calls her foolish for letting him strike, but she's unafraid. Dares him to try. Seeing her seriousness, he backs off to avoid chaos. Then, a beautiful woman scolds him for flirting. Aurelia, of the royalty here, is polite. She apologizes for Chavis's bother. Learning Thananasa is the fiancé, she's shocked. He says they've known each other, so it's fine. He asks when they'll marry, eager to see their child's power. Thaza hasn't decided, so Aurelia thinks she dislikes kids. They face similar issues. Chavis is a sorcerer, and she wants his child. Aurelia shares that parenthood is beautiful. Later, in their room, Oscar gets a bath from his wife. He mentions Princess Iada's disappearance near Gandon's Bordera, big issue, likely internal conflict. Rumors of war preparations. Thananasa offers to investigate if he wants. He agrees and pulls her close. He notes her talking with a man, sensing he's not human. She's surprised he sees through it. Chavis is a high-level demon, the Demon King. Her past fight here was with him. Now, he's interested in Oscar, so she warns him to stay away. That night, demons attack suddenly. Thassa wraps in a blanket and fights. She chases a strong one and captures it. Asked her plans, she says she's following orders but won't name her master. Chavis chases another, her ally. They escape via portal, surprising her. He rages, as that one targeted his Aurelia. Morning brings news of the dead, with Thananasa suspected for her recklessness. She thinks of Leonora pulling strings, explaining attacks on men and Aurelia as revenge for her lost love with Chavis. She's resented for fighting her before. The target is their loved ones, denying her and Chavis happiness. Leonora's Iniada with the prince, unusually for sorceresses. She thrives on war and destruction, with many followers and feats like sealing castles. Thana Nasa wants to end her, but Oscar won't let her go alone. This involves war, so he intervenes before it spreads. Days later, Iniada, they face a massive sandstorm. Thana Nasa thinks the missing princess is inside, so they enter. Oscar introduces himself as Fanas's prince. The princess, Nephili, falls for him instantly. He says he'll help to avoid war. They learn their enemy is a sorceress, the Nameless One. Thaza confirms it's Leonora behind this. First, she leaves Oscar with Nephili to talk, while she dispels the storm. Confident in outsmarting Leonora's temper, she plans to lure her out by revealing her approach to Nephili. She's investigated everything, but Oscar didn't know. He flicks her head for not sharing. She spoke with Nepheli's brother too. They must eliminate Leonora before war erupts. That night she sends a spirit to scout. Oscar asks his role. She assigns him to defeat Leonora's right-hand man, who absorbs demons for power, cruel and unpredictable. He's confident and tells her not to act alone anymore. Now they're together, he doesn't want risks. Touched, she promises she's unbreakable. He tries more, but she stops him, as it's not their home. He persists until morning, leaving her exasperated. The weather stabilizes, astonishing Nephili. Thassa jokes about last night's struggle with her husband. She wakes the group, knowing Leonora's coming soon. Scene shifts to the nameless sorceress, furious about the storm's dispelling. She heads to destroy Thana Nasa. In the bath, Nephili enters. Thana Nasa notices hickeys and uses magic to hide them. Seeing this, Nephili is more shocked. They discuss how, without sorcery, Nephili might be Oscar's queen, as their kingdoms are allied. Thassa senses her crush and reflects. Recalling Leonora's advice to live freely, her life changed with Oscar. Now, she wants to confront her, showing her way is wrong. The battle erupts outside. Oscar scolds her for being late, but she says she needed to bathe for full power. She ties a ribbon on his arm to summon her if needed. Seeing her ease, he says if they win, he wants to marry her differently. She agrees, surprising everyone. He thinks he's invincible now. They ride dragons into the wind toward enemies. Leonora greets the girl from before, but Thana returns with a strike she dodges. Meanwhile, Oscar fells Leonora's ally. She mocks their confidence, but Thana ignores it. She creates a magic bow, severely wounding Leonora, but it's not enough. Sorceresses heal fast, so only a fatal blow works. Oscar gains edge, severing his foe's arm, but he regenerates weapons from his body. Leonora, seeing her arrogance, wants to teach her. She summons something massive, worrying Thana as Oscar's in danger. She tries to help, but is neutralized. A magic circle reveals a sealed castle below. Oscar's trapped inside. The situation's dire. Leonora aims to end both. If Thana dodges, Nephili and her people die. If she blocks, she might, dooming the castle. She blocks, causing a massive explosion. Oscar senses it and ends his fight to find her. Leonora celebrates, but Thana appears, astonishing her. Even injured, the Blue Moon sorceress is strong. If still pure, she'd have won earlier. Thana wants her to regret her path. Power builds, engulfing the castle, terrifying her. Luckily, Oscar calls for help. She stops, he's still fighting. Thana arrives, shifting the tide. Leonora rages at being underestimated. Seeing Thana's wounds, he's worried. She says she's fine, wanting to finish first. Both have strong swordsmen, so the synced pair wins. Thana tries a surprise strike, but it's blocked. Oscar covers, pushing the enemy back for her attack. It hurts Leonora, but she heals. Thana blinds her with earth, making her laugh, then vanishes, startling her. The end. Acacia pierces her, they switched positions. Hit by the suppressing sword, her powers fail. Leonora's last glance sees Thana felling his ally, so she closes her eyes. This is the strength of their love. Without it, she accepts defeat. She sees it as a dream, fading forever. The war ends, demons vanish, bringing peace to Iada. Nephili admires the couple. Thana's satisfied, as they'll marry. This was her pact with Chavis. Back, they discuss it. Leonora's gone, so she wants him to keep his word. Fearing the Demon King's threat to Oscar, she made the deal. Chavis promises, as long as Oscar lives, he won't attack his kingdom. He wonders their next move. Days later, Fanas holds their wedding. People know Thana Nasa's a sorceress, expecting a black gown and terror, but she appears in a pure white dress, her beauty captivating them. Her brother-in-law congratulates her. He wants to be a guard protecting her when grown. The Ice Moon sorceress spots a familiar face, shocked. In the cathedral, Oscar declares their union. His Acacia reacts, surprising her. Their love is eternal. Both are overjoyed after everything. Days later, Nasa calls Oscar to help pack at the Green Tower. He researches as thanks, and she kisses him, easing his fatigue. There, he finds her bloody old bracelet with her real name engraved. Years ago, it's linked to the villain he killed for her. Another box falls, revealing an orb like his mother's, but green and unused. Holding it, he activates it, worrying Thana. Reaching for it, he's transported away. There, he realizes it's Tunda, the forgotten city, Nasa's birthplace. He enters her childhood room. She thinks him an enemy and attacks, but Acacia gives him the edge. He gags her, explaining he's from 400 years later. Shocked, as books mention time spells, she believes him. No way back, so he'll stay with her young self. Though strange, he feels familiar, so she doesn't doubt and invites him to stay until they find a way. He hopes she won't be reckless, as her future self is. Going to another room, she lets him stay to avoid noise. Asking her age, she's 10. So mature, he thinks, as he tucks her in gently. The next day, he learns she handles everything alone to avoid assassination before ascension. Once lonely, having him drop in brings joy. She's learning to protect Tunda's people. He tries her tea, tasting like her future self's past. Knowing her past tragedies, he asks her next birthday for plans to change it. It's soon. They search information together. She's curious about his magic sword. He explains it counters all spells. Recognizing him as Thanos royalty, she tests it. He recalls the orb like his mother's, with vague memories causing headaches. He describes the green orb. She can't help more, just research here. With her talent, she senses her sealed magic complex curses and blessings. He shares his childhood curse and blessings. Excited, she wants to explore hers. Before, he makes her train with a sword as it's vital in her future. This foundation will help her grow faster. Time passes quietly, they enjoy each other. He returns the dragon she gave him. Asking about her future self, he says she's wonderful, even if marriage seems unbelievable. Everything he says is trustworthy. Today, Lan Nash arrives for his plot. It's her birthday, so he brings a necklace. Trusting him, as they're to marry, she accepts. That night, Oscar asks about it, wanting her to wear his often. Seeing her trust, he warns of his betrayal, he'll kill her for power. Though she sees him as family, he's power-hungry. She doesn't believe, as he'd leave her alone. Seeing her cry, he hugs her, saying he's here now, and won't force anything. Her dream of a normal family is impossible due to her gifts. He promises her future won't be lonely. She falls asleep. Morning, they apologize. She says Lan Natch is taking her out today. Going out, she finds a green orb like his description in the forbidden room. Acacia lets her enter easily. Evening, before taking it, she asks if they'll really marry in 400 years. He confirms and promises more love if he returns. That seal holds complex curses and blessings. He only mentions the childhood incident where he was cursed and blessed. Suddenly, Nasa gets curious about her own body. Oh well, might as well explore it since there's nothing else to do. But before letting his wife touch it, he makes her practice sword fighting with him. After all, using a sword in the future is crucial. More precisely, Nasa always fights with a sword, so learning swordplay now will give her a strong foundation, helping her develop faster. Time passes quietly like this. The couple stays together, living joyfully. The dragon his wife gave Oscar is returned. Asking about his future self, he says his wife is wonderful. As for their future marriage, she doesn't believe it, but everything else he says is trustworthy. Today, Lan Nash arrives to prepare his scheme. It's her birthday soon, so he brings a necklace as a gift. Of course, Nasa suspects nothing, as they're about to marry. That night, Oscar returns, asks about the necklace, and wants her to wear it for him often. Seeing how much she trusts him, he warns that soon, that guy will kill her. Though she sees him as family, he only wants power. She doesn't believe it, as without him, she'd be alone with no one to play with. Seeing her cry, Oscar hugs her, saying he's here now and won't force her to do anything. He'll handle what comes next. Her dream is to live with family like other kids, but that's impossible due to her gifts. He promises her future won't be lonely, so don't worry. Soon, she falls asleep. The next morning, they both apologize for last night. Nasa tells him Lan Nash will take her somewhere today, thanks to going out. She finds a green orb like Oscar described. It's in a forbidden room, but with the acacia sword, entry is simple. That evening, before fetching it, she asks if they really will marry in 400 years. He confirms it's true, saying if he returns, he'll love her even more in the future. Making her happy, he reminds her not to trust Lan Nash too much, as he's her man. As he leaves, Nasa feels a deep emptiness, like something terrible is coming. Hearing footsteps, she thinks it's him, but it's Lan Nash. and today he acts, taking her for the sacrifice. Meanwhile, Oscar finds the orb, but doesn't touch it, fearing it'll send him back. He realizes his arrival here has a purpose. Suddenly, the orb glows again. Later, when the innocent girl is brought for the sacrifice, Lan Nash is about to stab her when Oscar stops him in time. The truth is revealed. Everything her future husband said was right. That guy wants to harm her for power. He sends sorcerers to attack, but they're blocked by Acacia. He's confident, assuring her it'll be okay, and asks her to protect herself with a barrier. But she protects Oscar instead. This trust enrages Lan Nash. Knowing he's no match, he desperately acts. The past is changing, altering the future. He spews bitter words at Thane Nasser. Oscar urges her to rise above them and look to a brighter future. She thanks him and wants to end it all here. Her power is vast. To take it, he stabs himself, performing the ritual. Normally, stabbing her would have failed, but by stabbing himself, he's consumed by the force and dies on the spot. The mess he leaves is critical. In the future, Thane Nasser absorbs it to become a sorceress, but the kingdom is destroyed. Oscar encourages her to control this power. Unlike Lan Nash, she's far stronger, so he believes she can do it without harming anyone. If something goes wrong, he'll support her. Empowered, Thane Nasser is more confident. Uninjured like in the future, she successfully absorbs the terrifying force. When she wakes, everything is over. Tunda isn't destroyed, and all is changed. Oscar is sure her future will be as happy as he wished. Right after, a sweet kiss, though his wife is only 11. From here, the truth unfolds, so they can't stay long. Perhaps the future story they heard is real, that a young man returned to save his mother, altering their harsh history, and maybe Oscar's mother did the same, using the time orb to seal his power. Now, it's his turn to save Thane Nasser. But ironically, those who change the past will vanish. Perhaps in 400 years he won't be born. So, this is his final farewell to his love. He's fulfilled his role and will soon disappear. He hopes she fulfills hers, becomes Tunda's queen, lives happily, and forgets him. And if given the chance to go back before touching the orb, knowing he could save her, Oscar would still do it to change everything, regardless of himself. He holds her tightly, waiting to fade from the world. At least here, they had joyful times together. She says she'll wait 400 years for his birth, and they'll remarry. He hopes for that miracle and asks her to close her eyes. When she opens them again, Oscar is gone. The promise of her husband lingers, tormenting Thane Nasser with the loss of her true love. She cries in agony, then turns to the future he painted. The scene shifts to years later, when Thasa has grown. She's become a magnificent queen in Tunda's eyes. May they reunite in 400 years to rewrite this untitled memory. This untitled memory.